A lot. And welcome back to another Inside the Show. I'm Scuffy, he's Cougs, and we know what today's agenda is here. Season 3 has finally arrived. There has been plenty of questions, I mean, since kind of day one, since they announced this new format in Diamond Dynasty, and we finally got some answers. We got finally answers. We got all the content last Friday. Not only that, we got content on Monday. I mean, it felt like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday. I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of content to go over between the All-Star game, the Team Infinity Player of Month, draft picks, cards that we first time ever that we've seen in Diamond Dynasty. But let's start with Player of Month because, Kuz, I got to ask you, how the heck did you do it once again? You got Ohtani discovered once again. Is this your second one from this year alone?
Yeah, I've gotten 2 out of the 3.
2 out of 3. Now let me ask you, how did once you got like when you were getting like in the middle of it, did you had that feeling like, okay, this might be mine to have?
It's tough because like I did and I didn't because I started off like I as soon as I saw any sort of indication that season 3 had begun, I got right into the game and started grinding, and the servers were really slow after doing each moment, and I thought, oh man, I hope this isn't just me. And I was about halfway through the program. I wasn't looking to see if other people were discovering cards before me, and I was just like, you know what, if I get it, I get it. And I just, went really crazy, got really efficient with the parallel grinds again. And yeah, eventually it turned out well for me, man. I didn't expect to discover Ohtani, but I did, and that's 2 out of 3 in MLB 23.
And that's only how many months we have? There's 4th, so you got half of them discovered yourself.
Well, no, it's only 3.
No, there is only 3 because that was June. Never mind. I'm thinking July because I added July. Yeah, 2 out of 3. Look at that. I mean, you got to see how many you can get for the remainder of the year. Now, let me ask you, they did make the grind a little bit easier
yes,
this time around, which I like. They added another exchange now for set 1. Did you do that as well, or did you just you went this? So if you didn't do it yet, they have the collection for the top sounds like they normally do, and then they added a new exchange where you could exchange set 1 cards and get, I think, 10 program points for that. But either way, Ohtani has a right. We kind of like last episode, we were kind of like, Ohtani has to be the Player of the Month Lightning card. And he was. Yeah. And it's funny because we're discussing like what happens if he gets an All-Star game card as well. And I remember bringing it up. I was like, let's get crazy with it. Give him a sinker. And
yeah, you did say that.
Give him a sinker, but they said, we're just going to do that for the Player of the Month, and they gave him a sinker. And the primary pitch being a slurve, by the way. I didn't expect to see that. But either way, the pitch mix is there. 113 H per 9s, as you see on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Then we get to the hitting attributes. And for me, vision is not, I mean, the most glaring one was vision, right? I think that's where people are kind of like, because we saw what happened with Aaron Judge as well. Now, let me ask you, I always forget, is vision based on just what you see from the PCI? Right?
Vision is, it helps with a couple things. So I can just read you the description in Diamond Dynasty real quick. High vision helps the batter make contact even better with bad timing on poor PCI location, resulting in fewer misses and strikeouts. Vision influences when a borderline checked swing is early or late. Vision is directly counteracted by a pitcher's K per 9 attribute. The outer PCI is the visual example of vision, despite being half of what it does.
Okay.
So yeah, it just helps with timing windows. It helps with how the ball is put in play, whether it's fouled or not. So it adds a lot. It's not going to be the end all be all when it comes to a card, but I mean, if you have the choice of two pretty comparable hitters and one has higher vision than the other, assuming you like both their swings, you're probably going to lean towards the guy that has the better vision, just to kind of give you more room for error when you're hitting.
Yeah. It's never. I feel like I haven't really gave vision like a true like look at for attributes like for the past 2 years, because I feel like back in the day it felt like that's all that mattered for PCI back in the day, like 17, 18.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
they
it was
adjusted to
huge
be.
back in the day.
Yeah, so that I haven't really. I mean, for me, I don't use a PCI to begin with, but the timing window, that's definitely something I wasn't really aware of. So that's good to know that there's to know that going forward. But either way, I mean, you had the 125 clutch. You had, I mean, his attributes for hitting. I mean, 125, 101, 125, 115. It's still going to play.
Yeah, he's good. He does have a little bit of low. What's the attribute? I think is it walks per 9, or let me pull up his card real quick.
Yeah,
Where is
his
he?
walks per 9 is 73, and his, well, it doesn't really matter for home runs per 9, but 73 for his walks per 9 and 84
Yeah.
control.
So yeah, the pitch mix is great. The hits per 9 is great. The clutch is great. Everything looks good. But that walks per 9 being only 76 does actually hurt him a pretty good amount when he's on the mound, because his par is really wide, especially with some of the secondary pitches. Like if you look for pitch control, things like the splitter and even the sinker, the par region on those pitches is actually like, it's pretty big. So you have to be really good at locating with your pinpoint if you really want to be good with this card, because I've already seen a ton of people use this card and give up a lot of home runs just from either a hanging slurve or a splitter that doesn't travel underneath the zone, whatever it is. So it's not like this Ohtani card is perfect. He does have some flaws. But still, man, for me, it's just like, this is the first time an Angel has ever won the monthly award Lightning card. So regardless of regardless of anything else that happened in this program, this was automatically going to be my favorite monthly awards program of all time, because it's just my bias. It's my Angel. It's Ohtani. This may be the last time I get to look at Ohtani in an Angel uniform. It's gonna be my favorite. And the card, yes, could be better, but it's Ohtani as a Lightning card.
Exactly. And all you got to do is just grind in and then you get it. And speaking of that with the Angels, if we go through the program itself, you also get another Angel that you got with Brandon Drury being part of, I think you got two. Yeah. Reed Dietmers and Brandon Drury, as I go through the program here, where we got Gairdry to start, Charlie Blackmon. I'm just going to roll through all the cards we get before we discuss further. But yeah, Gairdry, Charlie Blackmon. See, I still like that, having the captains at the beginning. We talked about this last week. That was one of the stops. Awesome. And that Charlie Blackmon, I love any Blackmon cards. And then we got Taylor Rogers. And then for the 95s, we got Patrick Bailey, Santos, Perdomo, McHugh, and then Cabrian Hayes for 95. And then Mark Leiter Jr., Lane Thomas, Dylan Cease. And then there was a lot of cards. Now reading them off card. Ranger Suarez, Hyun-Sung Kim, Brock Stewart, Josh Solbors. Am I saying that right?
I just don't even know.
I don't know. We're going further. Is that it's Michael Harris, Chris Walker, Dietmers, Duran from the Rangers, and then Brian Bell. Oh, I always say Brian. My bad. Bello from the Red Sox, Kristen Yelich, and then of course Ohtani. And I like how they included the red bat skin, because it was Angel after all. So that was pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, we got Yelich in this program. There's some good cards in here, man. And I think the relievers are pretty good. And just the fact that this came out right at the beginning of season 3, because I remember season 2 came out and, everybody's grinding out Team Affinity, try and get cards towards their set 2 collection to get David Wright or Randy or whatever. Dude, the amount of content that came out at the start of season 3 to go towards collections is pretty crazy, and it kind of just starts with this monthly awards program. This is like what, 12 or 15 cards or whatever towards set 3 collections, not to mention all the, or not all the, but the few Tops Now cards that we got, with the Domingo Herman perfect game card and those type of things. Like this monthly awards program not only is fun to grind because you get Ohtani at the end of it, but it actually provides you a really good head start going into season 3 and the rest of what season 3 has to offer.
Yeah, especially if you want to get the collections done as soon as possible. There's, we'll get to it when we get to it. But just the amount of what you can get from collections alone, this is a nice head start, like you mentioned. Speaking of the relievers, Brock Stewart, I have him up here. I used him to BR. I fell in love with this card because he has a 115 walks per 9, and his control. His control is at 80, but his walks per 9. His par for, I think, for his fastballs, cutter, and sinker were not your normal size. So he was a lot of fun to dot up pitches with. So I definitely highly recommend trying that Brock Stewart if you haven't had for anyone that before. But yeah, it was a nice, for me personally, it was a nice head start because, like we said, mentioned last week, set 2, I barely did any grinding. I was burnt out. This is a nice way of building back my team. Get that going again, get these cards again, try out these different cards in ranked, and go from there, especially since ranked seasons also dropped on Friday. We got Player of Month, Team Affinity, XP program, and then ranked that dropped on the same day. I don't even know where to transition next here, because I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna be jumping around from one thing to another. I don't know where we go. I guess we could, before we go to let's just jump right into Team Affinity, and then we'll get to the collections.
With the offline stuff.
Yeah, so the Team Affinity, we kind of saw a glimpse, which we mentioned last week, of having pretty much it's all-star cards, mix of all-star cards, home run derby cards for your particular team. We saw the Trey Turners, the Gallos last week, and they're all 97. We kind of expected it to be 97 when we were discussing last week, because will be 98, 99 or 97, but it was 97. And across the board, there's a few that I personally, I want to try out just because of nostalgia. We talked about the Gallo last week because I was from 2019, and when we were all like getting excited to see a Gallo get a diamond card. There's another guy that I wish back in the day when we played with him, he had a diamond card, and that's the man I got up right here, and that's Rake Lamb. Even though his attributes might not scream out, be like, oh, hey. It's 112, 73, 117, 93. Seems like a more, I don't know, platoon type of player. But, man, you remember the days from playing MLB 17 and 18, and Rake Lamb was always a guy that you always brought up to being one of your favorite players to play with.
Oh, yeah. He was just he had that legendary kind of stigma to him. Everybody knows what you're getting with Rake Lamb. He had that legendary, I think it was a breakout card or an all-star card. Just, he's got that nostalgia behind him, like you said. So cool to see him back. Is there any other cards that like kind of stand out to you, and whether it's, you want to try it just for nostalgia's sake, or you want to, you think they look good? Who else are you looking at?
I liked a couple of classics that came back. One I'm just bringing up right now is Alex Reyes. I love this 94 Alex Reyes when it got released. It was part of the Team Affinity 3 of 2021. And he has 122 H per 9s. And he has a fastball, sinker, slider, 12-6, and a changeup. I don't know. I remember he was one of the few pitchers that I had like a under 2 ERA with from using in ranked and BR. So I was quite excited to see that come back. But to go back to like just the regular Team Affinity cards, Trey Turner, I haven't got to try it yet, but the Trey Turner just screams TA3. I didn't look the attributes side by side from TA3 Trey Turner from 2020. I actually want to bring that up towards what it was for this particular card. I know the
Sure.
overalls are different, like the Trey
Yeah,
Turner from
you're talking about
2000.
the MLB 21 card,
Yeah,
right?
and this is 21 All-Star card Trey Turner. So I'm just curious.
There you go. Keep that image up on the screen, and I can tell you what his attributes were. So this is the 98 Trey Turner from MLB 21, the legendary card that people fell in love with.
Mhm.
So he's got 110, 125 contact.
Okay.
So compare that to what we
It's
have here.
109,
Basically the same.
125. Yeah, basically the same.
He had 99, 85 power. So they actually switched his power.
They
They made his
reversed
power
that.
a little better against lefties. Yeah. His vision was 96 to what is it now? 78.
78.
Yeah. But that Trey card does have 125 clutch. Obviously, it had 103 on the 21 card, but that didn't matter at the time. And yeah, the fielding is pretty similar. It's actually the Team Affinity card is actually a little better fielder than the one from 21. Same secondary position. So they definitely made a couple little tweaks to the Trey Turner attributes compared to the legendary card that everybody loved, but still very good. And I think that Trey is going to be very good with that 125 clutch.
Yeah, hands down. So from here for me now to you, how much has you done and how many cards have you like tried out that you like so far?
I've only tried out like I think one in ranked seasons, and that was Joey Gallo. He was the first one that I got. But I'm making progress on Team Affinity. Obviously I went to the home run derby, and so I was gone for a couple days while all of this content was out and people were grinding. So I'm a little bit behind compared to some what some other people have done. But I have about 60 to 70% in each of the West divisions, and then about 30 to 50 in the Central and the East. And when I complete the conquests and stuff, obviously I'll get a little bit closer, and I'll definitely get there. I mean, like I said, with the Player of the Month stuff and the All-Star program, which we're going to talk about later, like plenty of ways to get cards towards set 3 collections and getting cards in Team Affinity to get some of those 99s in that collection. Like there's just so many cards to get right now and so much to do. I'm honestly curious if this is obviously great for the season, right? Just to have all this stuff come out. But I'm curious, with all of the cards that are available and all the cards that we can unlock and collect right now, I'm hoping that this doesn't mean that the season kind of dies off a little earlier, because if everybody gets their 3 collection bosses fairly early, I feel like it's like people are going to be like, well, what's really the point of playing the rest of the season? So, yeah, either way, right now, I'm having a blast with it.
Yeah, it feels like you could branch out any way you want right now. I don't think there's a real correct path to go about just by the amount of content you have. It's pretty much you find players that you really want to play with, try to go that way, unlock it, and the other things will come in time.
Exactly.
I'm just taking it one day at a time. I'm not trying to do too much because I wanted to. Just knowing from how I was in set 1 in season 1, kind of want to do everything all at once. And I think that was the reason why I was burnt out. This time I'm just going to do a few things here, there, today, and then go play BR ranked. Try out those cards or just, try out different modes of it, whether it be events and stuff like that. And then go back to the offline grinding when I need, I was all right, it's time for an upgrade to try a different player. Then I'll do it. Because
exactly.
You have 50 days. I got to utilize that 50 days to get there, and then I'll go from there. But should we go over the collections first or the XP path first?
Let's do the XP path.
All right. So first, we already went over the classics. Yeah, in the Team Affinity. I'm trying to think if I missed anything for Team Affinity before we go there. No.
Well, there was the captains, but the
captains, which are 95s, by the way.
Yep. Good change there.
That was a good change. And what I always like, they do the vice versa of what they did last one. If it was a pitcher before it, now they do a hitter and so on. So it's always good to see. But yeah, as you looking through the XP path, the first thing you notice is more All-Star cards. This is where we first get our current All-Star cards. which
Yep.
are 97 overalls, so the path through AL and NL. The NL ones have the likes of Josh Hader, Joshua Gray, Devin Wims, Justin Steele, Nolan Arenado, Elias Diaz, first All Star card, and then
Yeah.
Orlando Arcia for the NO. And then for the AL, we saw Brett Rooker, Michael Lorenzen, Garrett Cole, Kenley Jansen, Mike Trout making his way into All Star card, getting
Yep.
97, Josh Young, and then Yordan Alvarez. So that was cool. See the first like snippet of the All Star cards. You get them at 180 K and then 200K for NO and AL pack, and then I believe you get another one at 260 and then 280. I think you get up to
And I
four
think you
each.
get I think you get a boss between those first
Yes,
two
you do.
non-sellables, don't you?
Yes, you do. You get the boss. But before we get to the bosses, first off, I love the card art for the All Star cards this year, including what they did. You know me, I'm a sucker for animated cards. For the
Hmm.
99s that they did, which we'll get over, where they had the moving background, have been fantastic, by the way. But yeah, just going through these cards, I'm not going before the All Star game happened. I was quite excited for Elias Diaz. I mentioned last week he was one of the cards I want to try out because how much I love the 94 Tops Now
Yeah.
card, and then the Michael Lorenzen as well. Because I feel like Michael Lorenzen, he has 109 walks per nine, so he's always able to. I feel like his control is always great. So I haven't tried it out yet, but he'll be actually it wouldn't be my NO lock, but that would be my AL lock. But yeah, it was good choices. Good to see that from the path you get those 97 overalls because they're not part of Team Affinity. So either way, I don't know. Solid.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. Because then once again, those are just henchmen leading up to the 599 overall bosses that are in there, and that's if you're a fan of one of these teams, that's where you're finding your all star there, and yeah, I'm cool with the XP reward path rewards, both the bosses and the henchmen guys. So yeah,
Now, speaking of the bosses, of course, we get all 99s. We get Buck O'Neill. So we're getting the Jin Kim series where they have, I believe it's all of them from the storylines. I
I
believe
don't.
I believe everyone from the
Yeah,
storylines gets a
I think so.
card.
Yeah.
We weren't sure they were going to get more cards at the storylines because we got the 90 overalls. Now we get their 99s, and it's awesome to see. And I loved Ramon's explanation in the live content stream in telling why they didn't get like a 99 off rip, because they want you to go into storylines, see what the player is all about. Don't just be focused on, oh hey, he has a 99 card in the game, let me get that. No, learn about the players, and they gave us time to do that, and now they are giving us the 99 versions of which I didn't expect to see. I don't know. I thought the 90s were that's it. That's all we're going to get, and I love this card art, by the way. Very cartoonish, but it's very clean, and I just love it. So yeah, Buck O'Neill's won the bosses. We get Zach Gallen, Marcus Simeon, new legend, Met legend, I should say, Mike Cameron, even though he's Seattle, and then 99 Jock Peterson. So you have 5 choices for the bosses like we normally do. I haven't even figured out who I want to get in here. It's hard to pass on Jock because I just love hitting with Jock, but I know he's probably not I don't know if he would be the best choice.
Yeah, it's tough to say. How I will say though, regardless of any of these picks, like they all have their value. They all have something about them that make them pretty good. There is something else that happened with this program that I think is going to make that choice a little bit like less, not necessarily stressful, but
Mhm.
more like you can breathe a little bit, because if you go to the end of the program, if you go to the 600,000 XP or whatever, that little wheel at the end, if you see in the top right, you can get a chase pack there if you get diamond in that little spin the wheel mini game, whatever they call it. But now golds, you can get a boss pack. So
Oh yeah.
I, I a lot of the times normally we're getting silvers from those spins or whatever. But every once in a while you get a gold, and every once in a long while you get a diamond. So that gold you'll land on a little bit more, so you can get a few more of those boss packs. So I mean, assuming you're playing enough to get that little wheel to respin. Yeah, I mean, you can. I think it's very possible for somebody to get all 5 of these bosses without spending any stubs on any of them.
Yeah, and even if because set 3 won't be phased out once set 4 comes. But I mean, you look at the bosses right now for set 2, they're going around 11 to 13K. So
Yeah,
that's nothing. So you probably could get, like, if you don't get all of them by the end of the set, you'll eventually could easily get them by the market, because that's what I did. I'm just gonna say that that's exactly what I did. I got Mo finally, and then I want to try out Greg Maddux, and then see how he goes. But either way, I know what else I liked about the XP path is that they included another card being 99, John Donaldson. We knew when looking up his repertoire before even like storyline, MLB Show 23 came out and they announced him being one of the Negro League players that are coming. We looked up, was it like, what was it again? Was it like 14 no hitters or something like that? I forget.
some crazy stat,
Something
yeah.
absolutely insane. And we knew that he threw hard. And if you look his attributes right now, he has a slider, fastball, is that with outlier, of course, slurve, forkball, and then the sinker. And not only that, he has outlier on his slider.
Pretty crazy.
That's once I see that, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to hit it. And it's funny because I face Martin Dehingo. I hope I'm not botching his name.
Yeah, you got it.
And he has very similar thing. His secondary pitches. I was playing All-Star. Last night I was playing BR. It was just he brought him in, and his secondary pitches were on All-Star. I was just like, how the heck are you supposed to hit this? It was, and I couldn't imagine if you see on Legend. I don't really want to think about it. But outlier slide, that's had to be the first outlier slider I've seen. Ever. Well,
yeah, I mean, whether it is or isn't, I just love when they have these, cards that have these really unique pitches. You got guys like Yohan Duran, who's got outlier on a splitter. Now we've got Donaldson, who's got outlier on a slider. They did actually add a knuckleballer into the game recently.
Yes,
so I love the I love the way that some of these pitchers just have a really creative way to make them stand out, other than just, oh, this guy has outlier on a fastball. Like, they can get creative with it. Even with what they did with Ohtani, they gave him a sinker to make that card stand out from the 99 from season 1 and even from his live series. So like, if you do that, you can release multiple 99s of the same player. You can you can really just make cards feel more unique than even a lot of people realize. So I hope they do more of that, and I hope they continue to add these creative elements to make these cards stand out.
Yeah, not only that, most of them are two-way players too.
Yeah,
which you love to see, especially with the utilize of now being able to play with the two-way players, especially in ranked. So it was cool to see that. But as you go through the XP program, I guess you get a total of 11 to 12 cards, I believe. So that'll be part of set 3. And then, of course, if you continue getting XP, you'll get even more. But the reason why I'm bringing up how many cards is because let's go over the collections. There is plenty of collections to go over, where we got, I think, 5 new cards or 6 new cards. No, not more than that. There's 5 collections and then 3 in the collection choice packs. So let's start with what you get for the collections based on how before the collection choice pack. So at 50, you get Alexis Diaz. The brother of Edwin Diaz actually has a sinker. They give him a sinker on that, and has 125 H per 9s with that. We get for 90 cards, we get Hilton Smith. Once again, another two-way type of player. Has 99 velocity, sinker, slider, changeup, 12-6. 120 Jackie. We get 99 Jackie with his typical Jackie card, if you ask me. Plays a lot of positions, 125 contact both ways, 99 speed, solid card. You know what? I'm telling you, the more I've been throughout this year, more I've been leading. If they had power, say from like 80 to 90, but they have the high contact, I'll play with them all day. All
Yeah.
day.
A lot of those cards have really surprised me. I don't know if it's they changed gameplay in a way to make these cards more viable, or if it's because they just something about the way the PCI works with these guys. But I'm with you, man. A lot of these guys with like the middle tier power, like, dude, Derek Jeter is still unbelievable in this game for me. Like, he is so good. Granted, another shortstop did come out at the start of season 3 that we have to talk about, but like there is man, the middle of the road power and mix that with the super high contact. These players play extremely well this year.
Yeah. I that's why I'm like I'm fine giving up like the 100 power if I have the high contact and clutch, of course. And then once we go over, we get 190, we get Austin Riley, which is like the first. You could literally call this Team Affinity 3 or Set 3 featuring the Atlanta Braves. That's how you could call it. This that's how it is, because they got 8 All-Stars and they pretty much included all those All-Stars. It felt like not only that, they included them in the BR program too, but we'll get to that momentarily. But yeah, Austin Riley gets a card, 120. Contact gets righties, 116, 106, 125. And of course, plays first, left, has good fielding at 87, 86 arm, and then 76 reaction. And then we get to the Set 3 collection choice, which you get 150, 230, and then 300. And the 3 big names is one that I already mentioned, Martin DeHingo, who I after facing him, Cougs, I don't think he'll be my first choice, but he might he might be my second, but just by the base of the movement of type of stuff he has. His H per 9 is not the biggest. It's 101, but he does have 109 clutch, so be good in that situation. He does a fastball, curveball, sinker, slurve, screwball. I mean, the screwball is alive and well. That slurve was probably the dirtiest slurve. You know what reminded me of that slurve? Jose Fernandez, MLB Show 16 slurve. It was just,
oh man,
his slurve back in the day was just on a different level. I don't know what it was. It reminded me of that. It just had that sharp break to it with the velocity, and I just couldn't hit it. And not only that, he plays everywhere, every position.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even remember, man. MLB 16 just feels like it feels like a fossil.
It does.
So long ago.
I remember the debates. What's the better one? MLB 15, 16, 17.
Yeah,
it was a long gun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love. Just going back to what I said earlier. Like, even if Dehigo's attributes aren't like the top tier end game attributes that you would think of. I mean, just look at like the versatility this guy has. All his secondary positions that he can play, literally anywhere on the field. You talk about having that power at 108, 115. He's got speed. He's a good fielder. Like, regardless of if you think he's good, like he legitimately could have value on your team just on either like a bench spot or in like the 5th spot in your rotation, whatever it is. Like just the amount of value he brings to a team it's crazy. He's not the best at any particular thing, but you're going to get a lot of value in one card, whereas you would have to use 2 or 3 cards to really kind of fill out that void.
Yeah, it makes sense why it's a collection because of that.
Yeah.
And then his pitch curl is great. 99 for his fastball, 96 for a curveball, 92 for a sinker, and then 87 serve, and then 81 screwball. And then, like you said, if you want to bring him off the bench, his what's his clutch for hitting? It's 108. His contact's 88, 90. But if you're coming off and like need a dire like pitch hit scenario, he could definitely fill in, especially against a lefty with being 108, then 115. That'll do. And then going through the other cards that we got 99 Adley, first of 2. Yeah, because he got one for the home run derby card, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Adley Rutschman, another catcher to add to the list after having Joe Mauer, Schwarber, and others. And there was another one that got released even after that. And then Ronald Acuna Jr. And this card, man, this is easily my number one choice here, Kurgs. 125 contact both ways, 102, 115, 125 Clutch, of course, 88, 99 arm, 94 accuracy, 82 reaction, and then 90 speed with 99 steal and base running aggressiveness. This is the best Acuna we ever seen. I love hitting with Acuna. This could easily be my favorite card in the game once I start using it.
Yeah, I feel like this. I agree that this is the best Acuna because I feel like they always kind of give Acuna like that lower contact against righties.
It's
Like
the
I feel like
TA1
they've
one.
done that in the
What was the
huh?
TA1? It felt like how his TA1 was.
Yeah, or even 2 years ago in MLB 21 when or it was yeah, it was 21 when he was on that MVP pace and then he got hurt kind
And
of
then you got the
like
All-Star
right
card.
before the All-Star break and then they
Yep.
gave him that program or whatever. Even that card, I think he had lower contact against righties. So the fact that they gave him that balanced contact and you kind of just know Acuna's swing is Acuna's swing and
Mm-hmm.
all the attributes are there. Like he's absolutely like one of the best cards in the game. And yeah, even Adley, like I've only been good with one Adley card in like any MLB The Show game, and that was MLB 21 Adley's prospect card. I don't think.
So I also have one of the first
Yeah, it was
ones.
his prospect, not his
That's like
not
a
his
90.
future star. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
90 overall. He came out one of the first couple headliners, I think it was. That card I was very good with.
Okay.
And since then, I have not been good with any Adley card. So obviously, I'm gonna give him a go and I'm gonna try him out or whatever. But I'm not expecting too much, considering also like I have Kyle Schwarber now. I still have Mike Napoli able to use. I sold Joe Mauer just because I didn't feel like I needed another catcher with how my team was going. But then again, you got to factor in Adley's got, if definitely when you really factor in everything, Adley's got more value than Schwarber because he's a switch hitter. He's got the attributes on both sides. He's got 99 fielding, 99 arm. Like Adley is definitely on paper a better player or a better catcher than Kyle Schwarber is. But when we're talking about it, really just Gosh, exactly. It's just the MLB The Show effect. It's guys like, Garrett Cole. Guy looks amazing on paper, but
Yeah.
he's just not good in MLB The Show. It just is
Doesn't
what it
translate.
is. So
It's like
yeah,
Edwin
but
for me. Edwin Diaz. If they don't give him the sinker, that's it.
yeah,
Can't use him.
and once again, I'm not saying this Adley isn't good or anything like that because he is very good. It's just for my own team, he's not the guy that I feel like I need to sweat and get 130 cards for right off the rip.
So would that mean he'd be your third choice?
I don't know. Like, it really would just depend. Because you got to think about it from like I'm a different player in the fact that I'm always looking for stuff for content first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm gonna get all three of these collection bosses, so it's really just what video do I think people would be more interested in seeing. So that's why I'll probably go with Acuna first. But yeah, I don't really know. I probably will end up taking Adley second, like I said, just for the content sake. I feel like people are going to be really excited to see him. But yeah, if I'm just building a team, I don't really know what the order of my picks would be.
You know what? It's a good thing to have, and not only that,
Yeah.
it just shows how much content there is because there's so many cards to shoot for right now. Because we
still got more to talk about.
Yeah,
too.
we got
That's the
those
crazy thing.
collections, and that wasn't even the only collection. Team Infinity Set 3 collection, which we haven't had this year for a Team Infinity, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those cards in there, including Freeman, Spencer Strider, Shane McClanahan, Arias, Matt Olson, J-Ram getting his 99 card, and then the 90 collection is Corbin Carroll. I mean, there is... I don't know. I just don't know how I would choose who would be on my team and who would not. If you had Chipper Jones as your wild card, you might even compliment and not even using him because like J-Ram, I know his attributes don't scream Chipper Jones because where Chipper is like 119, 125, 125,
Yeah.
125, but that's just minuscule because I mean J-Ram off the book 125, 104, 111, 123. I mean, and then 84 speed, and then 92 fielding, and then you can play second, short, and left. But it's like there's a variety of different cards that you could try out now, more ways than you have, I think, from set 2, and probably even set 1. Actually, set 1, I would say, is still more because we had the WBC program right from the beginning, but more so than set 2.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing I wanted to ask at some point during our show today is, we've said from the beginning of the year that Diamond Dynasty, people are really going to make or break their opinion of this mode based off season 3.
Yep.
Because when you say, hey, you've grinded for all of these cards, you've been able to use these cards for, 6 or 12 weeks or whatever it is now you just can't use them. Now you have to use these all new ones. Do you think that so far in season 3, they've given you enough of a reason to go grind out for new cards? Like, are you sad that you're gonna have to, get rid of some of your, or you're gonna have to replace some of your set 1 cards? Do you think they've done a good job in giving you options that you're excited to use in place of those set 1 cards? Like, how do you personally feel about it? And then, have you seen any conversation about how people are feeling about it on social media?
I feel like we haven't heard, at least on social media, I haven't heard like the question of it. Like, all right, I'm disappointed that my set 1 cards aren't here. I think it's just more being kind of overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed, but like there's a lot to do, which is good, which is exactly what you want. Not make you think of what's the next step that's going to keep me playing. That's their goal for a developer team. They want you to keep on playing. What can we do to make you keep on playing, and not realize that, oh, hey, all these cards from set 1 are no longer. A good thing they did was with the exchanges. I like how they did it with the exchanges for the player a month, so you can get those cards pretty quickly if you want to do that route, right? But
and go ahead.
No, I would just say for me personally, I got that feel again. Like, okay, I want to grind for these cards because there's plenty of those players that I enjoyed playing throughout the year, whether it be like through their live series card or any type of version card, but now they're having a better version of themselves. Like, okay, now it's time. Now it's time to, I want to try, like the Corbin Carroll. I know he had his Future Star card, but now this, I feel it's a little bit more attainable by just grinding. I don't have to like worry about the packs in the market for that. So
yeah, exactly. And we, just for everybody listening, we are recording these episodes live on YouTube. We usually do it maybe Thursday mornings or something like that, Thursday afternoon on the East Coast. So if you guys are in the chat right now, feel free to chime in with your own opinions on any of these questions that we're asking each other. We might not respond to it in real time because we are recording this as a podcast, but feel free to get in the conversation in the chat. If you guys want to listen to these episodes as we're recording them, head on over to youtube.com/inside the show, join the chat Thursday mornings, usually between 10 or 11 a.m. Pacific, and then 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. It's like I said, might not respond in real time, but yeah. I am reading the chat, seeing what people are saying, and feel free to get in the conversation if you guys want.
Yeah, for sure. Because this is not, because sometimes we gather our opinions just based on like us, right? Because we have that one-to-one conversation, but it's sometimes a lot of people feel different from different cards, and I'm very curious from someone that's been grinding like yourself through both sets and seasons. Did this feel refreshed enough where it'd be like, okay, I still feel rejuvenated to boot up this game, keep on that grind because I want to try out these cards?
Yeah, no, definitely. Because we've talked about it. Whenever a new season comes out, it kind of just feels like another launch of the game.
Yep.
And for like, my opinion is obviously going to be swayed because of what I do. I'm a content creator. I play this game every day. I make videos, whatever. But if I was just a pure enjoyer of the mode that didn't make content, that was just playing it for fun, I would still feel the same way. I would still feel like, yeah, they've given me a reason to play. They've, at least at the start of the season, they've done a good job at capturing my attention. To be fair, they did the same thing at the start of season 2. They did capture the attention at the start of season 2. I felt pretty well. And then, season 2 kind of like just slowly kind of died off. It didn't feel like there was much to do or much really to care for. I think through the first week of season three, they've done a really good job, really quality content, cards that people are excited to get. Granted, they have had the benefit of the All-Star game giving them an excuse to put out all this good content and the monthly awards and stuff.
Yep.
So really, yeah, it just comes down to, do I think SDS can keep up this level of content? We'll see. It's just gonna, we're just gonna have to wait and see. There's really no way to predict that. Just keep an eye on that schedule in the homepage of Diamond Dynasty. They're gonna tell you what's coming out, what you can expect, and I really hope that they've taken the feedback from the first two seasons and tried their best to implement it into season three. And I think they've already done that a little bit with, team affinities are still a 97, but if you collect, every 10 cards in team affinity you collect, you get a 99 overall in those team affinity collections. Like, you're getting more for what you did the same thing in season two. So, I mean, they are listening a little bit. They did make some changes to the All-Star game program that just came out. There's some changes at the end of it that I think a lot of people are going to be happy about.
Mm-hmm.
So it really just comes down to, are they going to keep executing on the feedback that they've gotten throughout season three? Or are they just going to kind of stick to their guns on certain things? We're just going to have to wait and see. But right now, I think they are off to a pretty good start.
Yes. And it definitely showed yesterday too. But we'll get to that. Well, we'll be getting that shortly. But hold that point, and we'll bring that up once we go over the All-Star program. Now, we still have so much left to go.
There's a lot,
because not only that, because what we missed throughout the week, what we got throughout the week. Let's first off quickly go through the ranked season awards and the BR rewards. So, ranked seasons, I'm just going to mash them all together. Ranked seasons, we got 99 Soto, Satchel Paige with a shorter delivery, and then 99 Sean Murphy. And then for the BR, what did we get for BR? Bo Bichette, Ruth Foster, and then Hank Thompson. So that Ruth Foster card art, by the way, top notch.
Yeah,
just
pretty cool card.
And from there, from out of those 6 cards, which card I really, really want to get is the Bo. I'm not gonna lie, it's Bo Bichette. I fell in love with Bo cards. I think last year, and then this year, his 97 from TA1, I loved using. Now he has 125 contact both ways. With the power he has, I would love to get there. And it's unfortunate because last night I was 9-0. 9-0. I was feeling good throughout the day, and then I decided, you know what? Let me stream it. Let me just hold off the run and stream it. And that was my first mistake. I should just, while I was hot, kept on going, because the first game I just couldn't hit at all. And then I gave up like a 2-run blast in the bottom of the second, and then couldn't hit in third. But either way, I also had, who we didn't discuss yet, Milestone from the Chase Pack, Ellie De La Cruz, probably the potential of being top 3 card I love in Diamond Dynasty as a whole. That's how good a start I had with him.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, my start was a little different. I started off a little cold with him. Spent 500,000 stubs, whatever, to get him. In my first game, I went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts.
Okay.
I'm naturally just not as good with players that are a little taller.
Okay.
But usually that kind of happens more with guys that are like 6'6". Because I usually am okay with guys that are like 6'5". I've done well with guys like Frank Thomas in the past. Even Ohtani, I think, is 6'4" or something like that. Like he's got a pretty tall stance. But I started off slow with Ellie, but I did end up picking it up. My second game, I hit 3 home runs with him.
There you go.
And so we're figuring it out. He's just one of those. It was kind of like Babe Ruth in season 1.
Okay.
I unlocked Babe Ruth, and I started off extremely slow with him. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, I might have to bench Babe Ruth, but how can I justify benching someone who's got 125 contact and power on both sides? Like, it just, I was like, how do I justify even doing that? It's like I have to see this through. Kind of the same thing happened with Mickey Mantle at the start of season 2. Another chase back reward. I was just really bad with him at the start, and by the end of season 2, he ended up being one of my favorite cards. So, it all just, you got to give these guys some time. One game is never going to be enough to determine whether you like or dislike a card. You got to give him a good amount of ABs, and so that's kind of where I'm at with Ellie right now. I know a lot of people are just really excited about that card. I know a lot of people were kind of frustrated that that card did end up being a chase pack
Yeah.
reward. But at the end of the day, guys, like as long as SDS gives us ways to earn 99 overall cards that are actually good as well, it's okay for a chase pack to be behind.
And now the chase packs, you might get the luck from the rewind wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Too, so
like, you have to have a good card in a chase pack, otherwise, what's the point of a chase pack? Like,
exactly.
No matter what, those cards are going to be good, and sometimes it's going to be a card that you want, and sometimes it's going to be a card that you're like, I can live without using that. Like me with the Joe Mauer, I was
that
like,
was the same card. Mauer, yeah, I was the same way. Yep. But I need this LA De La Cruz Cougs. I have. I mean, right now in 11 games, I'm hitting 737 with them.
Yeah.
But I have 626 stubs to my account, so just say I'm not close. Just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
It's a long way up.
You're just gonna have to enjoy him in BR.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I already got him a P1 through that, so it's gonna be like how it was for Chipper. I got Chipper to P4 before I even required him, just because I always wanted to draft him. It's probably gonna be the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. And plus the card art for it, beautiful. With the City Connect
really
jerseys. The milestone cards, probably the way they've been doing it this year, probably my favorite. I mean, with the Ken Lee, the Craig Kimballs, with the Babe Ruths from the beginning, and then now Ella De La Cruz card. So yeah. So BR awards we went over with, ranked seasons. We didn't go to the cards itself, but I mean, nothing real. I mean, I'm trying to think of all those 6 cards. Is there anyone like top 2, top 3? Like you're like, okay, I need to get. Would it be the Satchel Paige, the Bows, or the Sotos? Because Sean Murphy, there's so many catchers right now.
Exactly. Yeah, Sean Murphy. There's a lot of options there, but to be fair, there's a lot of options at like every one of those positions, right? You've got like even with Juan Soto. Juan Soto in the past, his cards from previous games have been some of my favorite cards of all time. And so, I feel like I have to try out 99 Soto at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, probably him. He's probably the guy that I'm looking at most out of any of those cards that we've been talking about, minus Ellie De La Cruz. But yeah, no, it really just comes down to like preference, because at the end of the day, I know for my team, I have really good outfielders now. Plus, I'll be getting Ronald Acuna Jr. as a collection reward. Like, it's not like, even if I don't get Juan Soto, it's not like I'm going to be really all that distraught, because I have those other options, which is the best thing about Diamond Dynasty.
Exactly. And then once you do get them, it's like, oh, I finally got them. Now I get to try them out. It's just, you'll get them when you get them. That's pretty much how it is. And there's plenty of other, I'm just kind of mimicking what you're saying. So let's move on. Anyway, because we're 54 minutes into today's episode, and we still didn't go over the draft picks, the All-Star content, or I should just say All-Star weekend content, and then the program itself. Let's first go to something that they've never done in Diamond Dynasty ever, and that was get the draft picks of the MLB draft that happened over the weekend into the game right then and there that night, and they did that the first time ever this past weekend. So I believe the first 15 were in the pack.
Not every one of them, because some teams didn't get theirs. Like the Angels didn't get their guy.
No, but I mean there was like 15 cards in the pack.
Yeah.
There was about 15 cards, including the top. I think top 5 were included, especially with Paul Skynes and then Dylan Cruz. We didn't know where Cruz was going. Because he said he didn't want to go to the Pirates. So the Pirates went with the other LSU player with Skynes. But this is something that's I'm sure they've been wanting to do for quite a while. And now with the nil But then, what the nil agreement where you could, I guess maybe I'm curious on how this came about. Like, do they just sign them right there then to get the rights, or is it
Yeah,
because
it's
now
it's
with the nil
really
agreement that they could do now they did beforehand?
yeah, it's hard to say because obviously we just don't know, but
Yeah,
I feel like it's something to where if I mean it they had to have maybe signed something pre-draft or something like that. Maybe something that said like as soon as they get drafted, are part of the Players Association or something like that. I don't know.
or just a separate
Or it
agreement
could,
for MLB the show. Be like, hey, do you want to be a partake of this? Here you go.
yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I know some of the art team from MLB The Show was literally in Seattle at the draft, like building these cards as they were being, drafted or whatever.
Mm.
A lot of these guys from the draft were just at home during the draft too. Like the players, they heard their name and then you see the video of them celebrating with their family. It's not like they were all there as they could, in person sign something. So I really don't know how that all works, but you know what? We're just gonna smile and nod because we actually got draft content in MLB The Show. Dude, remember I want to say MLB 20 or even 20, I don't remember, but remember the first year we got full minor league rosters
Yep.
and we were like, this is something we never thought would happen.
Yep.
And then we're getting, prospect cards. We're like, oh my God, this is crazy. These guys literally haven't even played in Major League Baseball, and we're getting Diamond Dynasty cards of these guys. Now we're to the point where we're getting guys that are in high school and getting freaking 99 overall cards. So it really is crazy to see how far Diamond Dynasty has come with their content. Because this is the type of stuff 2 or 3 years ago that I thought we would never see in this game, and it's as a veteran of this mode, it's really cool to see how it's evolved.
Not only that, they're just by with the format we have this year, they're able to get these high rolls so that you could plug them right
Yes.
into the lineup. Like Paul Skynes, he has outlier 111 H per nines. His clutch is 113. I mean, it's really cool to see. Not only that,
Yeah.
this is the first we had feedback from set 2 season 2 and being with the packs, like with the diamond duels being like all 99s and be how much they did. I feel like they saw that type of feedback, and we saw that with the draft pack for the first one, which they eventually do for the all-star, the home run derby packs, is that the first one you get, it's pretty much 80% off or 70% off, where you get it for a 10K pack. I love that, because you could rank up 10K by just playing the game fairly quickly. So it's basically a
Yeah.
free pack they're giving
Mhm.
you. And then you just see how your pack luck goes and then see where it goes. But I love that they did that. And I love that there's the quantity of these cards they were able to get out that night, was cool to see.
Definitely.
Now every
Yeah.
year we're going to be like looking forward to this.
I know. And like every year I go to the home run derby and I'm usually at the place where all that stuff is taking place, but part of me is like, man, I wish I would just be home right now and I could just get all this content. But yeah, no, it's really good for the game.
Yeah.
The more creative or more like the more stuff they can do, the better. And this maybe next year is the time where we start to see, the futures game MVP in these packs
I
or in
st-
this program or something like that.
I still wish
Eh,
they gave us that tops now Brendan Davis. I think that was from 1920,
Something like that,
something
yeah.
like that. Because I'm still, dude, I still think about that Gold Prospect Series Brendan Davis card, and he never got a Future Star card. I don't even know what he's up to, by the way. I know he's in the Cubs system. I don't know if we have any Cubs fans in the chat right now. But I'm very curious to what Brendan Davis is up to, because I loved playing with his card. Um, but yeah, but that was one night. That was the first night of 3 that we were getting content that night. Second one, home run derby. Now, before we get to the home run derby content, let me ask you: you went to the home run derby?
I was
I
there.
mean, we saw the round between Adley and Robert, and then we saw J Rod round. So you historically saw the best round in home run derby history with the J Rod round.
Dude, it was like before you even get to J-Rod, you got to talk about Adley
Yeah.
because Adley is there, hitting bombs as a lefty. And then he goes in his extra time and then hits like 5 home runs in 30 seconds or whatever as a
6 out of
righty.
7 or something like that too.
Yeah, it was just like the switch was just legendary to watch in real time. And then you see Luis Robert Jr. just come up and hit 28 or whatever to just beat him like that quickly.
Yep.
Like I don't even know if Louis Bob needed that extra time. Like he just went crazy. So, I mean, first that round at first was like crazy, and then the crowd when Julio came up to the plate was, everybody was so locked in. Everybody, like the entire like stadium stood up, and then to see him just hit home run after home run after home run, and just like everybody is just like, oh my god, like he's 6 in a row, whatever. Like the energy was just, it was special, and like the only thing that rivaled that was the Vlad versus Jock round.
Oh,
in
yes.
Cleveland in MLB or in 2019, and then the year before that,
Bryce.
when Bryce Harper won in DC. That was another kind of like Julio situation where the hometown dude was just doing his thing. So it's just, yeah, it's a certain electricity. In the, what was it, the second round when Julio only hit like, I think it was like 20 in that
Yep.
round, and you kind of knew with Vlad coming up, you're like, I don't know if that's enough. The energy in the stadium was definitely a little tense. But yeah, no, you can tell just how much that city loves Julio, and yeah, it was a fun derby. My only complaint with the derby is that you know me, I'm a West Coast dude through and through. I love being out here on the West. I need the home run derby to start going to the East Coast again, because like, it just doesn't get dark early enough. And seeing the home runs fly through the night sky is a lot different than seeing them fly through like a cloudy, overcast sky.
Yeah.
Like, cool, but there's something different when you can see that little white orb just traveling as far as possible. Yeah, I need the home run derby to be like at night truly again. So I'm looking forward to that going forward.
Well, we got next year at Texas. They might just close the stadium. So
Yeah, probably.
see how that goes. But yeah, it was for a viewer to watch on TV. It was like you're moving your head left to right, because they don't stop anymore. When the ball lands, they just continue throwing no matter what. It's like rapid fire. And that's why I feel like Julio lost gas too to go into the second round, because he was just doing rapid fire with that 43 home run. It was still so fun. He was my choice. After seeing that, I was like, all right, maybe I'm going to get that. That's one thing we're missing. I wish we could still choose who's going to win the home run derby in the game, and then maybe get a pack off that. Kind of wish
that'd
we
be
still
cool.
could do that. But yeah, still, I think the debate after that from the people that were there indicate how electric it was. And then the people at home were like, some people were asking for the old format back. I still like this format better.
Yeah, I do too. I think this format's like, it's more fun to me. Like, yeah, sure, it sucks to see a guy like Adley get eliminated in the first round with what he did. But it's, to me, it's just hitting all those home runs in such a short amount of time, to me, is more fun to watch than just 10 outs or whatever it used to be.
Yep, and then at the end, we got 299s overall from it. Of course, we got other cards from it, but the main two were Randy and then Vlad being the finals. Vlad beating Randy by, I think, like 2 home runs. It got close at the end. I thought Randy was going to do it, especially with the extra time. He needed to get like 4 or 5. I thought he was going to do it, but he did not. So Vlad Guerrero Jr., the first father-son combo to ever win a home run derby, by the way. So that's pretty neat. And then we get the continuous of All-Star 99 Vlad, because he got the 99. Was that last year or the year before?
21, he got the 99.
21, yeah, when he was MVP. Yep. So we got that. And then those packs came out at night. And then the next day, we got the All-Star card. And for me, Cougs, I was very happy. I was very
I,
happy. Once Elias Diaz hit that 2-run shot, I was like, there's no way. There's no shot that this is going to happen right now. And then he became the MVP of the game and get the 99 card, alongside where we got Yandy Diaz getting from the AL side, JD Martinez, Carlos Estevez, and then Yadier Cano, and then Alex Cobb. I think that's it. Yeah, I think I got everyone.
Yep.
But I was very excited about the Elias Diaz, man. I hit the home run. I was like, all right. And what happened yesterday, my first bat with him, I bought him. I bought him off the market. I knew I was. First bat yesterday, got a hanging curveball, perfect, dead center. Loved it. Loved every second of it.
You just love to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, this content, I mean, throughout this week, to add on to the draft, that was maybe 20 to 30 plus cards right there. And that's without the program.
Yeah, it was it's like 6-8 cards in some of these packs. Well, I mean, and then you got the draft pack that had a lot, but like, yeah, man, they did a lot with those the 3 nights, man. The draft, the derby, the All-Star game, a lot of content, and you know, you got to give SDS credit because that can't be easy, especially in those, you know, those late hours where they have to stay up and get that content up, and it's going up at what, like past midnight on the East Coast. Like they're committed to that content model that they've been doing for a few years, and I think it's great.
I feel like that's probably one of the most look forward dates for them, because they get to, you know, hang out, whether it's in the office or at the game, and then, you know, get to see watch as a fan as us, and then get to contribute to that. Must feel pretty cool. So
Yeah, definitely.
And then, of course, yesterday, today's Thursday, right? Yeah, yesterday we get the All-Star Week program, which added 12 new cards. Not only that, added where you could get one of the packs. Well, you get 2 of those packs, and one of those packs at the end guarantees a rare card they could choose. Now, I'm not sure if it's from a pack itself, or they're just going to give you like all those cards in one pack and you just choose one.
I think you just choose the player. I have it. I haven't opened it yet.
Okay.
I think you literally just get to choose one of the 99s. I don't think you like open a pack and then get a guaranteed round. I think it's just pretty simple like that.
That's pretty cool. See, that's stuff like we have feedback on, and then they able to give you that quote unquote grind 99 card that you could get by just playing the game. So that's pretty dope.
And that's all we're looking for. You know, like when sometimes people think that when people are like complaining about the content or critiquing it, it's like, oh, you just want everything to be a 99. It's like, no, we just want our grind to be worth the time. I'm not, you know, it's like, you know, the fact that we just get to choose one of the really exciting 99 overall players from the, you know, really fun All-Star Week content that we've gotten, like that's totally fine. You know, you add that with all the team affinity grind, you're getting a lot of cards towards collections. Like that's all we're looking for. We're not trying to be over the top with attributes or anything like that. We just want our grind to be worth the time that we put in. And I think SDS did a good job at listening to that for this program, and hopefully they continue to keep elements of that going forward to you know, the rest of the programs.
Oh, exactly. So if this is the only thing I'm hoping is that we continue, it just doesn't, I know we got so much content, but I hope it still comes in little by little, not just like got all this content, nothing really for like a week or two, and then get something here, nothing for a week or two. Get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Kind of, we just still, it doesn't have to be the quantity of it doesn't have to be big, but just continue giving little tidbits here besides packs.
Just keep it consistent.
Yeah, exactly. And then speaking of that, tomorrow, oh no, actually that's it for this week. Next week we get a new event, mini seasons, where it's righties on righties, and then roster updates and tops now. So I'm not sure if we're going to get tops now tomorrow. No, we wouldn't, because we didn't really. I mean, we had like 4 days.
There wasn't anything this week.
There was like 4 days of that, so we won't have to worry about that. But yeah, next week we'll get the roster update, tops now, and then we'll be getting closer to the trade deadline. So for us, as Angels and Met fans, that's going to be rather interesting. We don't have to get to that.
Let me think about that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we got a couple days a couple weeks for that before we do that. But Cougs, I know we didn't get to like go over in depth of every single card that out there or stuff, but has been a lot to do for set 3, season 3. Is there any particular plan that you have, or are you just playing as it comes, or is there anyone that you kind of want, like, all right, I want to shoot for getting this particular card by this particular day so I can play with it, or just gonna see what comes first?
You know, I'm a collections boy. So, you know, however that goes, whether that's grinding out Team Affinity, whether that's doing tops now moments and getting that stuff done as soon as it comes out, whatever helps me get closer to collections, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'll probably finish up all of Team Affinity over the next few days. Get into that event, get a couple of those cards there. You know, just do whatever I can to continue to build my inventory, get those 3 collection rewards, get the Team Affinity collection rewards. Like that's what I like doing. And then, you know, just experimenting with some fun team builds in season 3. You know, there's a lot of cards out there, a lot of stuff to do. And you know, like you said, I just hope that they continue to put out quality content throughout the season, and hopefully they just don't get kind of complacent with what they've done. I hope they just continue to keep pushing it forward.
Yeah, I'm with you. And like I just mentioned that before, just to continue seeing the content come out. For me, I'm right now. I'm just slowly grinding a player a month. I'm ready to get that Ohtani for me, because I want to build up my team again. It's been quite fun to see where we build a team. I know I spent some stubs to get the Elias Diaz, which I'm happy about, but there's other cards I'm shooting for. I want that Acuna, Cougs. That's my first thing. That's my goal. How can I get Acuna as soon as possible? Because I really want to try them out. But either way, it's going to be fun continuing grinding this content. Hope you guys are having fun and grinding content for set 3, season 3. We'll be talking all about a lot more where we're up to next week, including what to come for next week, including see what roster updates, what else happens during the week, because we don't know. The whole baseball is back come tomorrow, and probably until the end of World Series. There's going to be baseball at least, yeah. So hopefully you enjoy the second half. I don't know what to expect for a second half as being a Met fan, but I'm sure you could say the same thing for the Angels.
Yeah, not looking forward to it.
But yeah, anyway, appreciate all hanging out. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit thumbs up today's video, and be sure to sub if you want to see more live streams like this. Remember, we do these on Thursdays, roughly around 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to stop on by, hang out, chat around, and we'll love to see you over there. If not, be sure to listen to us on all podcast platforms, whether that is Apple, Spotify, wherever you name it, we'll be there. And be sure to hit us a follow on Twitter. We're at twitter.com/Inside the Show PC. Once again, Inside the Show PC on Twitter. Follow my boy Cougs at Cougs46. I'm at Scuffy Me TV. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you guys back next week on Inside the Show. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.